You should always have the most crucial and confidential conversations when you're surrounded by children with a bartender for no reason. Just make sure that the one person you're hiding all of this information from is sitting under the table next to you behind a tree that's completely out of place. My guests, who will hopefully help make this make sense, are the golden, perhaps silver, maybe sapphire trio from the Pottership Podcast. Hi, and welcome to Belated Binge Harry Potter, the re-binge podcast that doesn't take itself or the books too seriously. I'm Zach, your host, and I didn't read this series until my mid-20s. Today, we're discussing Prisoner of Azkaban, Chapter 10, The Marauders Map.
The Belated Binge Podcast.
Before we start, spoilers, obviously, language, definitely. Shout out to Katie and Alice holding it down for the bonus binge squad. If you want to join the fun and get the shout outs and the episodes and the bonus episodes, hence the bonus binge squad and other cool stuff, patreon.com/belatedbinge for that. Before we get into the chapter, I must welcome my guests. I'm contractually obligated by no contract whatsoever. Nobody's getting paid for any of this, but damn it, we're having fun. It is the silver, golden, sapphire, blue, turquoise, green, and yellow trio from
Nailed it.
the Pottership Podcast. It is Mel, TC, and Sam in no particular order. If the voices sound familiar, I was on you all's podcast talking about Harry and Ginny for, as I've been informed prior to recording this, episode 71, and y'all are coming up on 100. So it's been a minute, but I mean, not that long in the grand scheme of things. We're all just inching slowly closer to death and hating to think of it that way, so we don't. And you also somehow agreed to talk to me again. So thank you for being here and introducing yourselves in some set order, however you want to do this.
The funny part is that, first of all, we loved having you and we were waiting for you to come back. Yeah. Second, you said it in the order that we usually introduce ourselves, so that worked out well. So I am Mel. I'm
Mel.
I'm a puff. I'm a proud puff. I collect wands and other paraphernalia from Harry Potter, and I run a theater. So that's me.
Hi, I'm TC.
Hi, TC. So I've turned this into an 8A meeting. I don't know why.
It's beautiful. I am the resident Ravenclaw of the crew. I have two little Harry Potter doggies. One is baby Padfoot and one is little Lupin. And I don't have nearly as many wands as Mel.
And I'm Sam, and I am
moving to
London. Hi! I'm moving to London next year, so if anyone listening to this has any suggestions or questions about that, for the love of God, help me. My wand is not as long as yours, if I remember.
I think we have the same wand, don't we?
Do we have exactly the same wand? It's like
I think
the
we
12
did,
and 3/4 inches. Yeah, okay. So we have the same wand. We'll have to talk to our parents about that. And I'm a puff.
Well, hi. Thank you all for doing this. And I've never had to juggle three people at the same time in any capacity of my life. I'm not sure that I could handle it in even this capacity of my life, but we're going to do our best.
We believe in you.
We're a lot to handle.
We are.
Well, I don't know if I'm up for the challenge, but I'm going to try. How did you all come together for this life and podcast and all of the things?
Well, we came together in life through theater. We bonded through the Harry Potter celebration. I think it was the second one, where we decided to room together on the spur of the moment and then had a bunch of hysterical happenings that weekend. And then during COVID, these two just kept asking. So finally I caved and we started our podcast. So
She said that like years of asking.
Because the idea was born at the celebration. We were like, wow, we're really funny and we have a lot to talk about. Maybe we should tape this. And then 2 years later, COVID happened. We were like, we're bored. So let's do this.
I mean, it could did it have to be a badgering the Hufflepuff to make it happen? Because, yeah, I know. You're welcome.
Well done. Yes.
You're welcome. But also, there are two of you. You could have had funny discussions together. Like, why did you have to just
It
just
doesn't
keep?
work. So I see what you're saying, but also they are biological sisters, and I, surprise, am not biologically related to them. So they could have also
You all
done
look the same to
podcast.
me.
Obviously.
And we introduce her as our little sister, which makes for very funny meetings for others.
And Peggy. I'm Peggy. So we for some reason we needed the trio. It's sort of like having, yes, Harry and Ron would have worked, but they kind of need Hermione. I'm the Ron, just for the clarification, but yeah.
Are you?
So, am I to discern then, Mel? You are Hermione in this scenario.
No.
She's Harry.
Be Harry.
This bitch. Miss Ravenclaw over here, who was like, actually, it's episode 71.
Resident Ravenclaw.
And the Resident Ravenclaw. Excuse me.
I don't know what you mean, but I'm going to own it.
Yes, queen.
Okay, well, shall we dive into the chapter?
I think we should.
Okay, so in case you were obliviated or you got your Hogwarts letter late, let's shove our faces in that white liquidy substance of our pensive. In Chapter 9, Grim Defeat, Quidditch is life. So much so that Oliver Wood didn't even accompany the rest of the Gryffindor team in the hospital wing to make sure that Harry didn't die from falling like 50 feet in the air. Why? Because it was the first time that Harry didn't catch the snitch before he plummeted to the ground to his inherent doom. Thank God Dumbledore didn't let him die. He didn't catch the snitch first, and he was distracted by a black dog, aka the Grim, aka Sirius Black, aka Trelawney's just the worst. She wasn't even in that chapter, but she just drives me insane. Anyways, then he was attacked by Dementors, like 100 of them, because sure, having Dementors on the Quidditch pitch is a great idea. How did the rest of the match happen, by the way? Anyways, I have so many questions, and the biggest concern right now is the broken broomstick, because Quidditch is life. So now, how about Priori Incan chapter? This is the point where our wands connect, not the tips, just the streams, so we can recap what went down in the chapter that we all just read, or listened to, or consumed in some various way. Did anybody choose fan fiction? Anybody go that route? Because that could throw things off a bit.
No, I did go with the actual text because fan fiction makes it very different.
I imagine so. Never been a big fanfic guy. I hope that changes someday. But today isn't the day. In this chapter, if I can summarize it, the twins come through in the clutch and give Harry the Marauders Map, which they've apparently had for a really, really long time. It opens up a lot of questions and potential plot holes. And I'm sure that we will address several of them at some point in time in this conversation. We do open with Harry in the hospital wing, mourning the loss of his broomstick, because, say it with me, kids, Quidditch is
life.
Thank you. And we have a Ginny sighting. Speaking of our episode, it's almost like we planned this, which we didn't, because I'm completely unorganized and could never have had that foresight. I forgot she was here.
Wow.
So did the movie makers, so it's fine.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
That's true.
So I'm just going to start with, I had forgotten until I reread this how much of a stickler for the rules Hermione was.
Yeah, thank you.
She's
Again,
the
something
worst.
the movie makers got wrong.
I mean, damn. Like,
it's the worst.
A map you got a map to go to a fun town, and that needs to be turned into. And there's a line in the chapter where it says like Hermione was struggling to find another problem.
So back to the hospital wing. Can I just say I'm lying in the hospital wing. I'm in pain. I've just had dementors. I can hear my parents die. And my biggest issue is my broom.
Quidditch is life.
Quidditch is life.
Quidditch is life.
Okay, but Quidditch wasn't life until like a month ago.
Life for 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, Quidditch is, it comes in and out. You know when Quidditch is life? When the plot needs Quidditch to be life. And sometimes the plot has other shit to do. And so it doesn't become as much life until it comes rearing back in his fucking life.
To be fair, I don't even think it's a Quidditch is life thing. It is a broom is life. Now, as a person who loves having a car so she can get the hell away whenever she wants to, I get that. Like, when your car is totaled, you're going to be upset. And so I think for Harry, it was more, but my broom, my first gift, my first everything in the wizarding world, the first thing that made me special as me, just got killed by the world's worst tree.
That's fair. Murder Tree did go to town. Is that wood on wood crime? Is that what happened there?
100%.
Yes.
That would be wood on wood crime.
Absolutely.
Nice.
At this point in time, has Hermione already gifted Harry his broom polishing kit? I think she did, right? That was the beginning of this book.
No, she does that right after fire. It's like the same Christmas as the firebolt, I think.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
I feel like she...
Was it the...
Was it?
Oh, I think it was the
I feel like
book.
it was before. And then, but we do have a moment where Harry goes to take it out to try to polish up his firebolt and can't find anything to do on it. So
and then isn't he using it what, like, isn't that what he's doing when Hermione comes in with the, we're jumping to a different book, but
it's okay.
I'll just wrap the book completely.
I'm pretty sure
fine.
that's what he got second year from Hermione.
Oh, second year.
I think he got it second year.
Can we also talk about the people who come to visit him in the hospital?
We can.
I mean, nobody seems to care that this boy almost died.
No.
I mean, like literally almost died.
To be fair, Malfoy cares. He's just mad he didn't die.
I just love that Malfoy got all of his bandages off just in time to pretend to be a Dementor everywhere.
Yeah.
I was like, good for you, kid.
You need both arms to do the...
Well, and that actually brings me to this episode's segment of Draco bashing, because he's the fucking worst. But what he was doing is faking the sustained injury, and he kept finding reasons to keep faking it. First, it was to try to get Hagrid fired.
Right.
Then it was to keep getting shit done for him. And now he's like, oh, wait, we might have to play Quidditch in the rain? Let me just keep on, ow, we're gonna have Hufflepuff do it. But
He's
that also, so
shit.
that, yeah, he's the worst. He's terrible. He's terrible. And
also, side note, I get Snape is an asswipe. But
oh, yeah.
How do you let this kid continue to sit in class, disrupting class, while you're supposed to be teaching a very dangerous item? Like, he's teaching things that can blow up. He's teaching things that can set fire to the school. But meanwhile, I'm just going to let this little shit over there pretend to be a Dementor and disrupt the class.
Yeah, it's a Slytherin. It's my Death Eater friend's son.
For the record, for those of you who listen to our podcast too, this is not TC for once.
We all have our absolute no-goes.
Yeah.
Well, because Mel is sort of Dumbledore, but we're not going to get into it right now because it's not. I love you.
There's a rumor, Zach, that I am Dumbledore. I do not. I think he is a wonderful chess player. He is a master manipulator. He is still a good man who had to make hard choices. So
I think that sums it up pretty
hate
easy.
Dumbledore. And in this chapter, I loved him because his anger alone kept the Dementors out.
Yeah.
See, The people that think Mel, and we'll get back on topic, but the people that think Mel hates Dumbledore have obviously not listened to her talk about Bella Bitch or Bitch.
Right?
Those are their official names, according to Mel. So
those are Pottership TM. Yeah, those are.
Yeah.
So it's fine. But no, okay, so just bringing this back, because there is so much in this chapter. So we've got the Quidditch match, we've got Malfoy gonna Malfoy. And then Lupin comes back to teach after he's been full mooned, we'll say.
He was just out sick.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing how many clues are in Lupin's reactions. And that's why, I mean, I love the second, third, fourth, fifth reads for these things. Listen, all the clues to his concern about, and that little bit of tightening when he hears they made them do werewolf things, like all those little hints in there, just juicy, love them. Tasty.
Yes, Wolfie McWolferson. Yes, Wolfie McWolferson was sick at the full moon, and nobody had a clue. My goodness, they might suspect a thing, maybe, possibly.
But then later we find out that Hermione knew in this class.
Yep.
Yes, she did.
She had figured it out by then. And she was like, yep, gonna go see my teacher. That's the werewolf. Like,
it wasn't a problem until it was a problem.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it didn't have to be a problem. It was a problem because plot.
Right? It struck me too, because I never thought about the fact that their first class back, Hermione knew until this reread. I was like,
same.
Okay.
Because she sadly had already done her homework.
Well, here's the funny part. She is going to let a werewolf teach because it's fine. But she wants to turn in Harry for getting a map. The things that Hermione decides are dangerous is very funny to me.
Hey, 13-year-old girls be crazy, okay?
True story.
So let's go back to the map.
Yes.
Okay.
The map that is needed, because although we can let you almost die in Quidditch, we can't let you go to town to shop.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need a signed slip for you to die. We need one for you to shop.
Mm-hmm.
So we need a map to get you there. So can we talk about the fact that the brothers let their younger brother sleep with Peter Pettigrew months on end?
Are we going to talk about this?
So many people point this out, and it's a pretty obvious, like, the name wasn't known to them, so that's better, but they were just like, oh, he has a friend.
Who does not go in their class. Here's the thing. They still knew who was in Gryffindor house. Yeah. Who should have been in Gryffindor house.
They weren't like, oh shit, Peter Pettigrew. Lupin was the only one who was able to do that. They were just like, oh.
But they should know there's no Peter
who's sleeping
in their class. But no, they're only 2 levels below. Mm-hmm. They know there's not a Peter. There's only 5 Gryffindor boys in their brother's class. Mm-hmm. So just that alone should have triggered something, because there's no Peter in the school in Gryffindor.
On top of which, these are 2 boys who spent a good majority of their life using their younger brother as the foil, the test, the whatever you want to call him. They had such a perfect opportunity to be picking on him for like 2 years. We could have, like, really.
I can almost put my arms through that plot hole. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's really bad.
It's a big one.
Here's something I tried to actually explain it.
Okay.
Really?
Uh-huh. And I don't know if I've been successful or not. However, I'm going to give it a shot, because I've never, ever thought of another reason that could possibly make any sense whatsoever. And it's in this chapter. And it's in their passing of the parchment. They tell Harry they don't need it anymore because they, and I directly quote, have it memorized. But you can't memorize people's movements. So that doesn't make any sense to me until I had this
let's maybe a flicker of sort of a bulb that's almost gone out, but kind of sort of still bright once in a while. What if they never actually used the map to watch people? What if they only used it for secret passages and to look at their immediate vicinity of like, we're hiding behind a thing. Is somebody coming around this corner or bend, or is somebody on the other side that we're trying to get to? And like, that's the only frame of reference they actually use the map for, and thus wouldn't actually have looked at it.
Honestly, I'm with you.
Ron was sleeping with Peter Pettigrew for 2 years in the dorm room right below them. And I mean, good for Ron, right? And the other implications that, I mean,
so
Ginny never knew because Ginny tells him that he's got no experience making out.
I like it. Headcanon is like 99% accepted.
I'll take that.
Only problem I have is, are guys really that unobservant?
Yes.
Like, at some point,
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Hang on.
Because no girl, let me just say, no girl would have gotten that map at any age and not been like, and where is TC? And where is Sam? And where is Zach? And like, we would have scoured it every night just to see who was with who. So I cannot imagine two guys who had it for 4 years at this point.
I can.
Didn't spy on people.
100%. Especially they knew about Percy's girlfriend. So how were they not just surprising Percy and Penelope anytime they got together?
Right?
See, I'm sorry. I forgive me, and Zach, please jump in. I think the twins, God bless them, were also a bit myopic. They were about the twins. They were about, this is twin stuff, doing twin things with the twins, and we twin. And occasionally we will care about other people enough to play a prank, stand out, play Quidditch. Otherwise, we're twinning. So I can genuinely see, after the third year of having the map, the novelty of looking at other people wore off, because they don't care about who's with who or why or how, unless there's a way they can prank them. So,
and it's interesting that the parallel is drawn in this chapter between the twins and James and Sirius, because that kind of beautifully illustrates how close the two of them were.
Yeah.
That they were like brothers. They were like twins.
Yeah. All right, Zach.
I mean, it's true. It's certainly not a flawless theory. I couldn't come up with anything that made any sense other than, but it does seem fairly plausible because the twins are, as you say, the twins twin. That's what they do. They do seem to, and I would even go farther as to say they hyper focus on whatever their task is at hand that they are trying to do. Like when they are focused on making new contraptions and like different magical things and products that they can intend to go sell, they're focused on doing that. When they're focused on trying to cause mischief and sneak around, they're focused on that. When their focus is on actually running a joke shop, their focus is on that. When they're like, their focus is never on their studies. Their focus is never it never seems to, they don't seem to give a shit about actually having friends and friendships and like doing stuff like that. They have Lee, and they get along fine with like other people, but they don't, you never get the sense that they are actively concerned about other people, like in their relationships, with the exception of Half-Blood Prince, where they do question Ginny about who she's with
dating
for a moment. Yeah. And that's about the only time that you actually even get an inclination they care at all about anything that like is rumor filled type stuff.
And because you're saying it that way, you're up to the 100% headcanon accepted.
I mean, again,
because it makes sense and it's the only thing that does.
Well, that's the caveat. makes something else make sense, because nothing in this, as it's originally written, actually does. It's just a major plot hole you could drive a fucking truck through.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, Harry just got the map.
Mm-hmm.
Why doesn't Harry notice that there's a man named Peter Pettigrew in the bedroom with him below, right next to his best friend's bed?
Now
They're
this
in the room together.
This one I can explain.
Go
and
ahead.
Because he was always looking out into the castle at what everything else was. He was never going to be looking at himself and where he was. He knew, he had already seen that worked. He saw, like, the map gave him exactly what to say and exactly what to do, and he knew that. So looking in his immediate 5-foot range was not useful to any of the times he needed the map.
So he's the opposite of the twins. Instead of being myopic, he's constantly big picture.
Yep. Yep.
Kind of, because he's had to be from the moment that he was 1 year old. Like he's been big picture and been part of the big picture. So he's not going to look at himself. The only time I'm trying to think, he occasionally looks at Dumbledore, but the only other time that I can remember that he is looking at someone is Ginny in Deathly Hallows when they're on the run.
Yeah, he's very much using the map as a tool.
Yeah.
For whatever he needs it for that moment.
Yeah.
And the only time he's looking within a 5-foot range is when they're sneaking around under it to make sure they're not running into someone.
Yeah.
And he also, and I would say, and it's also by mistake. Like he sees, Junior.
Barty Crouch Jr.
Barty Crouch Jr. in the map, but it was sort of by mistake because he swept past the room and went, wait, that's weird. Someone's in the office. So no, I get behind that.
Yeah.
Headcanon also accepted.
I like this. I like it. Okay, so now we sneak into Hogsmeade. Now, here's my question. This is a stupid question I've always wondered. They leave the castle and they walk out. And they walk down to Hogsmeade, right? Mm-hmm. They go to Hogsmeade, they're shopping. Harry goes down into the tunnel and he walks for what feels like an hour. Oh.
13-year-old boy having to walk in a dark cave. He's going to be like, oh, this feels like an hour.
Now, I will say, Sam,
minutes.
that is the best explanation I have heard ever. Because I had that same thought with the 100, 200 steps. I don't know. I lost count, which is very 13-year-old boy, 13-year-old in general. Yeah. Because the other explanation I have heard from several other podcasters has just been, the author has no sense of distance, which is true. If you look at all the books, none of the distances or time schedules make any sense. Numbers are not the author's strong suit.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you that one, but
or maps,
right?
Or maps, or people's names or genders.
Yeah,
right. Okay, so we take what feels like an hour, and then we walk up 100, 200, or 300, who knows, steps.
So like 12.
Right, which is probably more like 10 steps. And we come out with no problem. We don't bump into anyone.
We almost do.
Walk, but we don't. And then we walk right up to Ron and Hermione, who just happen to be standing right there. Great timing.
It's a good thing they were in Honeydukes at that moment.
Right? I mean, the plot just tight on that one. And not only in Honeydukes at that moment, but planning a gift for Harry.
Right.
Cute. Cute. And this from a woman who constantly watches Hallmark movies.
I'm not gonna lie. I the first time I read it, I probably didn't even think about it. But the reread, I was
the
like,
17th time, it's like,
right, that's a little trite. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and you're on the right podcast for it, because I can't get through a single one of these chapters of any of the books or shows that I do without at some point in time using the phrase, because plot. I don't know.
It wouldn't be a story if they weren't right there. Or, I mean, there could have been a line of like, Harry had trouble finding Ron and Hermione, but he finally found them and whatever. I I don't know. It's cute. You suspend that disbelief, just
Yeah.
way up there on the wall, and it's fine.
I mean, just adding the word luckily.
Yo, that's so true.
Hey,
Yep, you're right.
just
Yep.
give me my cut of the books now. Change a word and take a third. I will
Luckily,
take that.
Ron and Hermione
right
were
now.
right.
Yeah, that it doesn't take
Game
much.
changer.
This is
Game
when my
changer.
job as a writer gets in the way of reading, because in my brain, I have a whole conversation where the author wrote likely, and the editor went, okay, we need to cut the words down on this book. So you don't need that. You don't need that. You don't need that. And you get it back, and it's like, I'm just going to accept plot. Okay. Because editors will take your story. And we know that the author is, let's say, verbose. So in my head, I see an editor just went, we don't need that. It's fine. They're children. They won't connect the dots.
Which at 11, I probably wouldn't have. But
Mhm.
at older than 11.
Even 13.
So, okay. So we're in Honeydukes. We see all the candy that Dudley would want, I'm sorry. I thought that was the funniest insert sentence.
Yeah.
Because this boy has not thought of Dudley all year.
There's
also-
always the opportunity for a fat joke.
Right? And it was,
Yes.
dude, why would, like, of all the things that are going through and happening right now, Dudley comes to mind? Okay, sure.
Maybe it's
Well, that's
planting
okay.
the seeds for their friendship later on.
Yeah.
No.
Sure.
No, it's just for the fat joke. Okay.
Yes.
Just for the fat joke.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He's
definitely.
13. I mean,
He
It's-
is, but they had Eloise Vidgen. They had Millicent Bulstrode. Like, there were other people.
But
that-
also,
that
Harry's
joke-
probably wearing Dudley's clothes right now.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
True.
Yeah.
yeah, and Harry is also, he has no twin, unless, is Voldemort a twin? Whatever.
Wow. There's
Wow.
a book. Very different book.
Harry is the epitome of hyper-focused and, well, pretty oblivious to anything else that is around him, unless the plot needs him to actually notice something.
Right.
And
Yeah.
he's very observant in those couple of instances, but he really doesn't have a large circle.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't really think about people outside of his circle.
Yeah.
And the person he probably hates the most in the world inside of his circle is some kind of weird cockfight between Draco and Dudley.
Which would be
Yep.
really fun movie.
The Draco Dudley cockfight?
Yeah.
That sounds
Don't take it
Inappropriate.
literally. Don't
Not the
take it
X-rated
literally.
version.
They have wings. They're dressed as chickens.
Sure. It's-
okay.
Wow. That went.
My eyes. I can't unsee.
Okay, so now we leave Hogsmeade. We're walking.
It's a
we're-
blizzard.
Wait,
But
I
it's
need
a
to
blizzard.
talk. I don't want to leave Hogsmeade yet because we
Well,
still
we
have
haven't
to
let-
get
Not,
to-
I'm sorry, I didn't mean
Honeydukes.
Hogsmeade. I meant Honeydukes.
Wait, wait.
Honey.
I do have one thing because
Go.
I will say this. This is I am not as big on finding plot holes. They're there. I move past them. But this one got me. He is not wearing his invisibility cloak. That town is small and it is full of fellow students and other people in the wizarding world who know Scarface with glasses is Harry. How does no one on the walk between Honeydukes and Madam Rosmerta's not recognize him?
When
Listen.
when
That
you
has been my
when
one
you put
problem.
up your hood, you look like a totally different person.
Wait, who's on the
Sure.
podcast with us right now?
What happened to
exactly.
Sam?
Evil Kermit, obviously. Like, it is.
Put
it
on
is a pretty big
glasses and now you're
problem.
you're Superman?
Duh.
just call me
So
Kermit?
think about it. If Ron and Hermione were in Honeydukes, that means that's as far as they probably had gotten at that point.
Mhm.
It means there were other students in Honeydukes.
Well, yeah.
No hair.
Harry references them. There's
Yeah, that's-
years behind them.
Yeah, that's one of the things that he does say is nobody noticed him because he just blended in as another Hogwarts student because the place was full of them. So that does kind of explain why the like staff at Honeydukes doesn't notice he's there, but also
Sure.
why would the staff at Honeydukes give a shit that he's there? Aside from the fact that he's Harry Potter, like they don't know he doesn't have a signed permission slip. That's the only reason that
Yeah.
he's even thinking this.
But the other students do.
Well, yeah, but we couldn't write that in because,
Plot.
well, yeah.
Harry got his permission form signed. Cool.
Yeah, here's another piece of this though that like it goes back to how we are as humans, and I think it's amplified by 167-fold when we are 13. Nobody is more cognizant of us than us. We are the star of our own movie. Nobody there gives a flying rat's ass that Harry is there, aside from Harry and his friends that just found out he's there. Like, nobody else cares. They're the star of their own movie. They're
Yeah.
worried about their pimple or what like snack they're going to buy, or oh, I just knocked that shit off the shelf back there. I hope they don't charge me for it. Like they're worried about that stuff in their own lives, in their own little box of, you know, blinders that they wear at 13, 14, 15 of just like, I hope that I shot my shot at her over there. She turned me down. I need to get out of here really, really fast. Oh, was that hair? I don't care. And then they move out into the blizzard.
Which
That
I
is a
get
great
all of that, and I 100% agree. And then go to the sentence plot, because this is the one time in the world we don't run into Malfoy.
Well, not
Because
yet.
you know, any one of that group of 6, 7 would have been like, he's not supposed to be here. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Okay. So anyway,
Uh-huh.
we're
Luckily-
going through the blizzard now.
Yeah.
Because
That's why it took them so long to get to Honeydukes. He was traveling underground on hundreds of stairs. No escalator down
Right,
there. I
right.
don't know if you know. And
What's
they
his
were in a
head?
blizzard. It
His
wasn't a
head to
blizzard when he
find out
left.
that he's there. That always struck me as funny.
That he
Like, you
hit his
know you're
head.
at the top of the stairs because you hit your head.
Yeah,
Well, because he's looking down.
at the stairs.
Uh-huh.
He's trying to
Wait,
count them.
wait. I'm struck by the idea that this has never happened to you, TC. Have you never been watching? Has anyone else but me experienced this?
Sorry, no.
I'm being so oblivious
always
to everything around
really-
us that we walk straight into something.
Because it stairs up and you're looking at your feet and there's a trap door above your head.
Sure.
You
let's
find
go with
yourself in that position often?
Not often, but it has happened to me before. And it wasn't a trap door. I walk up a lot of towers, okay?
Are you
Okay.
a vampire? What is this? What just
it.
happened?
She's a damsel, apparently.
Hey, I'm not a damsel.
Yeah, she's going up the tower. She's not stuck in it.
It is occurring to me that the words without context of my life and my experiences seems odd.
No,
I
this seems
have-
perfectly normal. I don't think you need to explain at all. We don't need context.
I have, on occasion, found myself in Europe walking up a thin tower, and the steps are very skinny, so it's very steep. So you're looking at your feet to make sure you don't fall. And then if you are unaware of how you are coming out into the room that you are attempting to go into, you hit your head.
You know what? I'm going to give it to you because one of the things I tell people all the time is that we as American readers forget this is a English book.
Thank you.
When people get mad at how much Hagrid drinks, I'm like, have you been to England?
Have
Oh,
been
I
to
don't get-
Scotland?
I
It
don't
is
get mad
not
about
in-
Hagrid drinking a lot. He's a giant. He's huge. He needs to drink a lot.
Right,
It's,
but I'm
and,
saying,
and you mentioned that in one of your recent episodes. Of how,
Yeah, and he's
fine.
doing it at home.
He's
He's-
off his
right?
shift. He's doing it at home. Like,
but there
Yeah.
are a lot of things that people, American readers, like this. It makes complete sense to me when you're in England everything is still tiny, because I did think about how skinny there could have been 100 stairs, because the stairs are only 4 inches thin, and you are on tiptoe going up the stairs.
That is
because
true.
everything is so freaking small. You know what? I'm giving that to you. Sam, winner.
Thank you. So back to the plot.
Welcome back, Mel.
What? Harry is concussed and walking in a blizzard.
Right?
And they're going to the bar because that's what you do when you are 13 and you're
so
in
Butterbeer
another.
is so who? Okay, so let's go back on a whole nother tangent.
Hmm?
Butterbeer is non-alcoholic, but it's beer.
Right.
You can have non-alcoholic beer. I almost drank some as we were taping this.
You can, but I don't think butterbeer is non-alcoholic.
No,
Here's
it's
the
not,
thing.
the author has said it is non-alcoholic.
I think butterbeer has the same amount of alcohol as root beer, birch beer, all the things we drink that are sodas that have a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of
Sure.
alcohol.
And if you go
Ginger
to,
beer.
if you go to England and you go visit Shakespeare's area,
Yeah.
several of the stalls sell butterbeer.
Mhm.
Like before I ever even knew about Harry Potter.
Yeah.
It is not alcoholic. It's just a buttery,
And it's disgusting.
very disgusting.
It's not, it's disgusting.
Wait, that particular type of butterbeer or butterbeer in general?
No, that we're in
Stratford-on-Avon.
Stratford-on-Avon, the stuff they serve there is disgusting.
So PSA, don't get the butterbeer at Stratford-upon-Avon.
There you go.
Get it from the Wizarding World.
Yeah.
Get the fake sugary stuff. Yeah.
Get the fake
Yes.
sugary because
Here's the thing. Our butterbeer is butterscotch. Their butterbeer at that place is butter.
Mm,
Yeah.
yummy.
Yeah.
Put it on toast. I guess I'm a little like then just I can't get past the glaring plot hole now of the Half-Blood Prince movie when Hermione slops down her butterbeer and is like tipsy drunk as shit walking back to the castle.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's why I always figured there was at least some alcohol.
At least some
in
alcohol.
them.
Yep. There are
Yeah.
references to it.
Yeah,
No,
like
she was just on a sugar high.
Okay,
They at
can we
least
just
act happy.
agree?
So
The movies are fan fiction
I mean they are.
based on this great book series.
Yeah, I mean the movies.
but even the book
have their
series that
problems.
we all love and all have podcasts about have some plot holes.
Oh, 100%.
What do you mean?
No,
Here's
So
the
one of
difference.
my
There are
I
favorite
plot
never
holes.
noticed.
There are plot holes, and then there are things that they just made up.
Yeah.
That's where I go fan fiction for the films.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So going
Yeah.
back to your point,
Mhm.
3 13-year-olds walk into a bar.
Yeah. hmm Yeah, and then
A priest, a rabbi, and a
yeah,
Because
Pretty
here's
much.
the question. This village is let's say it came up around the fact that there's a town and a school here. Why did they not build like a restaurant
But
type thing?
Is
that's what
it's a
this is
pub.
supposed to be,
pub.
right?
I
There-
mean, but it's the only one. I mean, not counting Aberforth because nobody would go there.
but
But
there
it is,
are
it's a pub.
others. I feel like there are well, it's a very tiny town, but I also feel like there are other restaurants and places. But Harry doesn't see those, so they don't exist.
Okay.
And
Okay.
to be fair, remember, as we just said, England, like Ireland and a lot of other places, pubs are not bars that you need to be carded to get into like they are.
Yeah.
No,
It's
no,
a
and I
pub.
get that, but I'm just thinking yes, I go back to Sam's Harry didn't see it, so it doesn't exist.
Mhm.
Because we're talking at least 40 kids, because we don't know how many are in each class. Descend on this town, they can't all eat at the same time at the same one place.
Now,
We
keep in
know
mind, we
how
have
small these
Madam
pubs are.
Well, you have Madam Puttyfoot's, you have Aberforth's, but here's the thing: they would have gone to Madam Rosmerta's anyway, because this is the first time we get the hint that Ron is starting to have big boy feelings, and
Bow chicka wow wow.
he was going to say, "We're going," and I think he's the one that suggests it, going to the Three Broomsticks, because that's Madam Rosmerta's place, and he volunteers. The boy with no money volunteers to buy the butterbeers and go up and carry them back. This is Ron's choice.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
was struck by that, this read of like, isn't he usually not good at paying for? Oh, okay.
Well,
Oh,
saw
He's
the
thinking
word
with his
curvy.
broomstick.
Right. He is
he's
with his
thinking
broomstick.
with his broomstick.
But we
Mhm.
saw the word. She's curvy.
Well, how else would you describe her?
I'm a writer. I could think of a lot of words, but curvy works for 13.
I
mean,
because Harry is gonna have those feelings a little bit soon.
Yeah, but Harry, I think, likes more boyish body types because I always feel like tomboyishness is Ginny's body type. I don't get voluptuous.
No.
So,
Not voluptuous. He definitely likes sporty girls.
right.
Because
He's
his
a-
what, two
athletic.
crushes?
His two crushes are Sporty Spice 1 and 2. Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
Quidditch players.
Whereas-
So in this scene, we get to one of my favorite parts of the entire book.
Oh,
When the
wow.
teachers come in, and it is so visual, and like it's a ridiculous comedy movie moment. Ron and Hermione in sync put their hands on Harry's head and shove him under the table. I don't know why. It's hysterical. It's so visual. I can see it in my mind, and it's a regular, I don't know who to reference, Vince Vaughn movie. Like
It is 100%, Sam. I'm with you on that. I had the same thought. It makes me laugh every time.
so then Harry's just covered in butterbeer. And they move a tree, and the teachers have no idea that they're there.
That's
Yep.
the part that I can't really. Nobody noticed the tree in the middle of the room that shouldn't be there. That- huh?
Nope.
Must
Nope.
not be anybody over there. Okay.
Well, I always pictured, and maybe I'm wrong, but I always pictured the tree is one of many Christmas trees in the Three Broomsticks, and it was
Yeah.
already next to their table because it says it just kind of moved a few inches and plopped down. My bigger issue is no one noticed a tree move,
Nope.
but then again, magical community, all kinds of things are moving.
My
Mhm.
bigger issue
That's
is that
fair.
a bunch of full-grown adults sat there having a conversation that could be overheard by others without even looking around to see who might be on the other side of that tree.
They only think about it when Hagrid is literally yelling facts.
Right?
And all of a sudden, everyone's like, Hagrid, shh.
Not even everyone. Just McGonagall.
Just McGonagall. The fucking Minister of Magic is like, he's good.
Well, they've had a couple of, I guess not butterbeers. They've had
Whiskey.
mead and such,
They had mead and whiskey.
and I think
Flitwick had
Flitwick
something
got a
with an
frou-frou
umbrella.
drink. Yeah, he got some kind of something that matches his voice.
Everyone short likes martinis. Why is this a thing?
I can tell you with absolute certainty that is false, because I'm a very, very height challenged individual, and not once in my life have I ever wanted a drink that had any fucking umbrellas in it.
Yeah, but you're also a Quidditch's life guy. And we need to go out and introduce you to some espresso martinis, and it'll be fun.
I'm okay with that.
Let it
See,
happen.
here's the thing. Even espresso martinis don't have an umbrella in them. Like, the
we need
drinks
to
that have
start it
umbrellas
small.
have a lot of fruit juice.
You're not going to be here, Quidditch guy, margarita. No. You got to start with like, oh, this is at least still the color of beer.
See, here's what you do. You start with a Sex on the Beach shot. Then you move up to chocolate martini. Then
Okay.
you move up to, you like Sex on the Beach. You like the shot. Just get the drink. Oh, you know what? Very similar as a rum runner. Like, that's how you get them
And-
into
and-
the umbrella drink.
And the name definitely doesn't bring these boys to the
To
yard.
the yard. Exactly.
No,
Oh,
I was honestly thinking that you got caught having sex on the beach and got shot, is what I thought you were going with that. Alas,
It's
what are you
okay.
gonna do?
We'll move a tree. No one will see us.
No one will notice. No one will notice. And there'll be an umbrella.
And there
Oh.
will be an umbrella.
Oh,
Oh god. So they're just loudly spewing Harry's personal life.
Yeah, it's the stupidest thing, honestly. And I mean, and this is where the plot convenience gets a bit additionally tough. At any point in time in this series, any at all that you can think of, can you imagine this foursome having any kind of shared communication time or anything together ever for any reason? Was literally in the last book, the last time we saw the Minister for Magic and Hagrid together, he was arresting him and taking him to Azkaban for being the heir of Slytherin.
But that was last year.
Yeah.
This year,
totally fine.
plot.
You know what's funny though?
Water.
Hagrid is the only one that feels off to me. Like, I can see Flitwick and Minerva hanging out. Absolutely. I can see Madam Rosmerta stopping to chat because she nosy. And she was invited to and she nosy. I can
Also,
even see,
That's
because
the thing too.
she's the deputy headmistress, I can see the minister wanting to talk to Minerva.
Mhm.
Hagrid makes no sense.
I mean,
Yeah.
but haven't you ever gone out and that one friend brings that one friend and it's like, I don't know this person at all, but we're gonna chat now. I think it was one of those situations. Someone overheard someone saying, let's go to the Three Broomsticks. And then
Now,
they
I
went,
will say,
"Oh."
it's very obvious that Hagrid and Madam Rosmerta are friendly and talk and
Wow.
chat. So
As we've
Here's the other
mentioned,
thing. Remember,
Hagrid-
Harry says he was reminded that it's their break
Right.
too, and Christmas is coming for them too. And maybe it just made sense. Plot.
Sure. Also, the time that I would ideally choose to have this discussion, even amongst this unlikely group, is to the bartender, making sure she has all the details of all the classified information.
Yes.
Because, I mean, who's she gonna tell, really?
my favorite part is that they admonish Hagrid, did you tell everyone? And then you sat and told everyone. Like,
Everyone.
Did you tell
Yes.
everyone this secret information? How could you?
Well, the best part is they say it as if it's such a secret. But
mhm.
let's go ahead and talk about it in the middle of a crowded bar
And
Where-
then
where we
the
don't
lead-
know who's behind the tree.
The tree that's not supposed to be there.
That
And there's
moved
a
when we sat down.
And there's a
There's a
puddle of
tree there,
butterbeer
but there-
that keeps coming closer to my foot.
crazy.
Wonder how that spilled. It's coming from the tree.
The tree was peeing.
The tree's on Christmas break too.
The
Yeah.
tree is drunk off butterbeer. It affects it differently.
That's
Like
why
how
it's
so?
moving.
It's a sugar spruce or something.
It's a sugar spruce.
I don't know if that's a real thing. I don't know trees.
For the record, it is now.
Okay,
Right?
I'll
And
take it.
Head,
They're
sugar
talking
spruce.
about this, and I get that they like the drawn out lead up, and I do remember noticing this the first time I read it. The drawn out lead up to, well, you remember who Sirius Black's
Ugh.
best friend was.
Mhm.
Oh yes, you never saw one without the other. They were inseparable. They were like brothers. Sirius Black and James Potter. Like, guys,
Here's why that didn't bother me. Although
Sorry,
I
that was
agree.
my drum roll.
I love
It was beautiful. Here's why it didn't bother me. Although yes, it is drawn out and it's definitely like like it's all there. But it didn't bother me because it came from Fudge. And Fudge, in my opinion, his telling of a tale, he is way dramatic. Like, that is a man who gets to the podium and is like, ladies and gentlemen,
I'm
let
here.
me tell you a tale of my childhood and why I am, like,
But
I
that was
can see him being that
Rosmerta
guy.
who says all of that.
Well, no, they're asking Rosmerta.
They keep
you
going. They
remember?
keep passing it.
I mean,
yeah.
yeah,
Passing
it's
it
a
to her.
conversation.
So that's the only reason I let it go, but I 100% agree with you. It is definitely trumpets blaring, drum roll. In case you weren't paying attention, I'm about to tell you something important. Pay
Yeah.
attention, kids. Like,
Because-
here's what I thought of while listening to that whole thing again, because I listened to it this time rather than read it. And as it's building and it's building and it's building, I just kept thinking of modern news stories because there were so many times in this story where they were wrong. But the way they put it together made perfectly good sense. And you can convince an audience that this was it. Like, I was like, okay, that was, nope, that was, but that's not how, but get, okay, but, okay, seven, okay, wait. So, yeah, they had a beautifully built story of lies.
Yeah.
That's such an incredible comparison, though. Holy crap.
It's great. But there is something else I wanted, because I think this is one of the reasons it's so drawn out. This, I believe, and if I'm wrong, let me know. I think this is the first time we get the Fidelius charm explained as an audience.
Yeah.
And I think the author
It's
wrote it this
so
way
much
to
info
make it make it stand out as something
Yeah.
we needed to remember.
Yes.
So I do think that was kind of the reason, because this was a very important plot point. You know,
Yeah, it
Yes,
was.
Decidium got blown by just to get into the one-eyed witch. Nobody cared about that spell.
right?
Yeah, it's the whole thing. It is just jam packed with info dump, exposition, just a massive amount, and it comes to us from the most unlikely group, in the most unlikely place, in the most unlikely way, in the most ridiculous set of circumstances to make it all come together. But it is very important. It does have Sirius and James being best friends. It does give us what a Fidelius charm is, how it works to be a secret keeper. There was also the even just planting of the seeds that Dumbledore had a spy. Wonder who that could be. There was a spy leaking information from them to Voldemort. Wonder who that could be. Hagrid meeting Sirius outside of the house, and Sirius wanting to take Harry and giving him the motorbike. Why did he give me the motorbike for? He loved that thing. And then we also have
it had a lot, as the story as a whole, it had a lot of stuff. It's just when you're redoing it, you can go, oh wow, could have done that different. Ooh.
So much different. It was like cramming it in to make sure that we got it anyway.
Yeah.
The other thing that we got is, and this is the one that I latched onto, I think the most in the nitty-gritty detail that I thought I would get y'all's thoughts on, is it mentions how they have Muggle eyewitnesses to Peter Pettigrew cornering Sirius and trying to take him down, and Sirius being too fast for him and killing him, and blah, 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 blah. We had to wipe their memories. How is it that all of these Muggles that you had as eyewitnesses all saw the same thing and all saw it wrong?
But they didn't see it wrong. And that, I think, is the important point.
Yeah.
Peter staged that whole thing. That's the thing we got from it. Peter did stop and say, no, like Peter acted his face off, give him an Academy Award.
Well,
So
he got a Order of Maryland for it.
Yeah. But when we get the actual story from Sirius, it was backwards. Sirius had cornered Peter, and Peter blew everybody up, including himself, as he transfigured himself into a rat.
But think about what you just said. Sirius had cornered Peter. So even as, and we all know eyewitnesses are not always reliable, as a Muggle walking by across the street, because obviously you weren't one of the 11 Muggles killed, you see bad man approach little man. Little man screams out in terror. They both point sticks at each other. There's a big explosion, and little man is blown to bits with just a finger showing.
I think the most important question in these logistics is how close were they standing? Because if they are screaming at each other and you see a light come from this guy's stick and not this guy, that's going to be difficult to misread. But if they were like because like you said, he was being dramatic. Peter yelled all of this out, but they could have been standing this close. Sorry,
Yeah.
this
Also,
close. I realized that wasn't
think
good.
about when you're walking, and I'm just going to use for the American side of things, you're walking through the mall. You're paying attention to all these other things that are happening around you because you're thinking, I got to go get to Claire's to get some new earrings. And then all of a sudden, you hear someone scream something. That's really the first time most of them would have seen anything. And that scream was Peter acting and then an explosion. So the 11 that saw it are just as trustworthy as anybody on the news tonight talking about how the neighbor next door seemed like such a nice person.
I completely
Why
agree.
do they all say that?
Yeah. I completely agree. I understand how you can misinterpret a scene. It's the specific details of this particular recounting of the scene for so many people to all have it wrong in the exact same way.
If they did, because
I was going to
again,
say, think
odd.
about the police question or the oral questions that they wanted it to be Sirius. They were ready and like 20 of them there to get him. So when you say, Zach, what did you see? And you're like, well, it looked to me like the little guy was like acting. He was really over the top. And they're like, maybe he was just scared.
right.
And you, as the eyewitness who just saw something crazy happen, we're like, okay, yeah, maybe he was just scared. So it's very possible the ministry's story.
They could have been leading questions.
Led.
Yeah.
Well, also keep in mind, it's been 12 years. The ministry has been telling this story this way for 12 years. It could have been completely different 12 years ago. And you had that like 1 6-year-old going, no, I swear I saw no, you didn't. And they moved on. Like, because I mean, we've all told stories that, oh my God, when I was in middle school, this happened. And then somebody else who was in middle school looks at you and goes, no,
I remember that slightly differently.
That's not how that went. And they're like, no, it was. I've been telling this story for years.
You've been lying the whole time.
Exactly.
Yeah. We are all the stars of our own movie.
Exactly. Well, I find it interesting though, the cavalier way. And I've heard a lot of people argue about this, and I'm curious what you guys think. Using magic against muggles, against their will, is against the law. However, the ministry is extremely cavalier with memory charms throughout the entire series.
Well, the
muggles.
statute of secrecy, I feel like the international statute of secrecy, like, just
Trumps everything.
Trumps everything. Thank you. Yep.
Yeah, but they're a real cavalier about it. And let me just say, when you use magic on a magical person, it probably affects them in one way. Magic on a muggle, like how much of their life did they forget?
Like anesthesia. They blamed it on anesthesia, but what it actually was.
Well, what we learned from Gilderoy Lockhart is that you can be pretty specific about the memory charm and just take out that bit. And we have all gone to work on Monday and someone's like, oh, how was your weekend?
I don't know. I had a weekend.
I don't know. I remember going to sleep. Like,
yeah. But I think my brain interpreted all of this, Zach, as it's the ministry's story to tell. It's the story they wanted it to be, because that was easier than any other explanation. And regardless of what those 11 muggles said, in reality, they went with what they heard, what they wanted to hear, and they coaxed those who might have said different to get the story they needed.
Especially since you consider Sirius went to Azkaban without a trial.
Yep.
Yeah.
They did not even pretend to look for facts. They did not pretend to try him and prove their facts.
And
they
also,
went, this is what happened, go to jail.
If he had been less self-deprecating, because he was like, nope, yep, it was my fault.
Yep.
And it's like, not really. And you saying that is really confusing a lot of people.
Look, I'm going to stop this now to put a PSA out there. Lawyer up, people. You cannot be trusted to defend yourself. whole thing would have been different if Sirius had a lawyer. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Wow.
Do they have lawyers in the Wizarding World? They put
They have to.
Harry on trial like by himself as a minor
Yeah.
in Order of the Phoenix.
I'm
I
gonna
mean-
say post the books, Hermione made sure. All of a sudden, there were a bunch of lawyers in the Wizengamot. So yeah.
But also, there were, yes, but Dumbledore represents Harry. I wonder if there were lawyers chomping at the bit to represent Harry in this, and Dumbledore was like, no.
It's like the phone calls that you get if you've ever had like an accident or something in your car, and then you just get flooded with print mail.
Yeah.
Hey, does your neck hurt? Yeah.
Do you need to sue somebody?
Yeah.
Right. If
That's-
you have a phone,
You
have a lawyer.
Oh my God.
Hogwarts mail has actually been being sifted through this entire time, and they've been getting all of Harry's spam out of there. Seriously though, like, why does this kid not get more fan mail at school?
They don't. I mean, that's a really good point. They
Mhm.
freaking know how old he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
And
my
after
God.
if nothing else, after the Triwizard tournament, when he's
Yeah.
starting to get support mail,
Yeah.
Mhm.
how'd
Yeah.
the Boober Tuber pace get past that?
That's what I'm
Sorry,
saying.
that's for
Like,
another- That's for your next book.
Harry. It wasn't addressed to Harry. So back to
I
the-
volunteer
anyway.
to come back for that chapter though.
So going back to this one, your visual favorite part is them pushing him down. My visual
In
favorite
this chapter.
is the story has been told. The teachers sweep out, because plot, and then they both are just like, oh.
I actually picture it slightly differently. I see it from like through his eyes, mostly because, I mean, look at me. But he's like
Fucking
sitting there
dressed
just,
like a 7 Potters right now.
yeah, right. He just like is sitting there dumbfounded, and he's looking, and what you see is Ron and Hermione's heads, like faces, just start ducking under the table.
Yeah. That's just like visually, that was my I guess
And that's how the chapter
visual bit.
actually ends. There's one other
Roughly.
thing. I don't know if you caught, in the whole like story that the minister was telling, the newspaper.
Mhm.
The catalyst for Sirius breaking out of Azkaban
Yes.
was told right here in this little conversation, because this is where Sirius sees Peter on Ron's shoulder
Mm-hmm.
and is like, I gotta get out of here. Now here's my question. And I don't remember if this is confirmed later in Sirius's story or anything like that. But that drive, that ambition, that motivation to get GTFO out of prison, is that because Sirius the rat is alive and he knows where he is? Or is that because, Peter the rat is alive and he knows where he is? Or is it because Sirius knows that Peter the rat is at Hogwarts where
Yes.
Harry is?
It is that one. It says it in the book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It actually
do-
says he's where Harry is.
Yeah.
Although I'm going to say, I think a good portion of it does have to do with, I'm gonna get this little shit back.
Yeah. Sirius was pretty vindictive.
Yeah.
well,
Rightfully
I wanna
so.
protect Harry, and I want to protect Harry, and I got to get out of here to protect Harry. But in the meantime, if I could find that little crapper and
But like,
well, I think
it-
that's the solution. The problem is he's where Harry is. The solution is kill that little bastard.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
stomp on him.
Mhm.
100%.
But make sure that if I do happen to come in contact with Harry at all in this thing, I make it super duper ambiguous and make it seem like I'm out to kill him,
Oh,
because
sorry.
that's what everybody else is saying to him.
Oh,
One other thing that's pointed out in this chapter, and I didn't want to forget it.
Mhm.
This is also the chapter we find out that the Whomping Willow was planted when Lupin
Yep.
got there.
Mhm.
Like there are
Yes.
so many. This chapter just the hits keep
Here's
coming.
the funny
And that
thing
one of the
to notice.
passages from right underneath the Whomping Willow go into
Goes-
Hogsmeade. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
But here's the thing I thought was funny is when Lupin is explaining it, it almost seemed as if he didn't realize the Whomping Willow was to protect that entrance. Like if you listen to how he tells it, everything else you can fit right into I'm a werewolf, here's why. That like there's a sentence where he's like, yeah, but nobody would go there because, but it almost seemed like he was not attaching the willow to himself.
Because
I
he
didn't
does.
get
Because
that.
I think he was aware that he was talking to Harry.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
his reactions and everything else in that conversation were so telling.
yes, now that we know.
Well, we weren't supposed to catch that one yet.
Right, I
True.
know.
We're supposed to be on the werewolf tip right now. We're not supposed to be on the Shrieking Shack tip right now.
And
Like, we're-
honestly, the first time I read it, both went over my head.
Well, yeah.
Oh yeah. of
Yeah, they
course.
should.
One reading they're supposed to.
But it also, Lupin specific. This struck me. This reading, Lupin. I will finish one of these sentences. Lupin
Was it Lupin? Are you sure it was Lupin?
says,
Who's Lupin again? Is that Wolfie McWolferson?
it's like when you stare
Yes.
at a word for too long, and then you're like, I don't think I'm spelling red right.
DER, right?
He
Sorry, back to Lupin.
He specifically says, I'm sorry, I'm glitching. They planted the Whomping Willow the same year I arrived at Hogwarts. He did not need to fucking say that. He did not need to phrase it like that. It's almost like he was like, hey, Harry, I wonder if it was because of me, because it was planted magically the same year that I arrived at home. I don't know. It seems like he was really trying to like, come on, Harry, you can.
You can.
Yeah, but Harry couldn't put 1 and 1 together and get 2 if you paid him.
I'm sorry. 1 and 1 together is 11.
Exactly. Says the Harry on our screen.
Meanwhile, Hermione's like, oh yes, werewolf.
Yeah, but that's not important.
He's fine.
Did we miss anything else that y'all wanted to hit?
No, those are the big ones for me.
Me
Okay.
too.
I had one other thing. I noticed Harry did something at the beginning of this chapter that he does throughout the series, where he consciously has the thought, I know how Ron and Hermione are going to react to this, so I'm going to bottle it up and not share it with them.
Mhm.
Yes.
And that just struck me.
It's the same thing as if, like, maybe 1 year, just once, somebody tell a teacher what is happening.
In their defense, they tried to tell a teacher in first year
Once.
And second year.
and second. They do try a couple times.
Yeah. Because
But
they
that was
actually
like-
went to McGonagall second
Yeah.
year.
But
And
it's
McGonagall was like, us teachers will take care of it. Don't worry about it. Like,
Yeah. And I love that Harry's like, first year, it's Malfoy. No. Second year, it's Malfoy. No. Boop, 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 boop. Sixth year, it's Malfoy. Whoa. But that's not in this book. That was all that I had.
You're correct. It's often used as the answer to, well, why didn't Harry just tell such and such? Why didn't Harry just, he answers it in his head.
mhm.
It's the excuse, it's the plausible deniability of, well, Harry would just do this and solve all of this crap that happens, but we need a book to happen. We need a long book to happen. Even this book is long, and it's not even long compared to what long becomes in this book series. We need some long, very long books to happen. And so we need Harry to keep stuff to himself, because if he doesn't, they'd be much shorter.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't get Caps Lock, Harry.
And Caps Lock Harry is
We're
so
still gonna get caps locks, Harry. This kid is walking trauma.
you're not wrong.
Poor baby.
Yeah.
On that
I
happy
feel
note,
for
let's
him.
give out some house points. In true
Yay!
Hogwarts fashion, these points are completely subjective, with no oversight, and fully at my discretion, and now yours. This week, we're going to give and take. I'm going to first give points to Fred and George. They're getting 50 each for the Marauders Map, because it becomes a very, very cherished possession of Harry's and kind of a big-ass deal in this book, and the rest of them. So, good on you, Fred and George. I'm also going to give Ron the 50 back that Snape took from him for throwing some kind of organ at Malfoy's face in defense of Harry, and I feel as though 50 might be lowballing him.
Yes.
So maybe let's make it 60.
Yeah.
Just because I really like the visual of Draco Malfoy getting smashed in the face with really anything, but the fact that it was an animal organ,
Like a
makes
slimy
it better.
alligator heart just
yeah, right
love
in
it.
his face.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Not Tom Felton's face. I know everybody likes his face. Draco Malfoy specifically,
delightful.
his
Right.
face.
No, we're with you on that.
Yeah.
Although, perhaps Tom Felton should go for Halloween someday with one of those things just stuck to his face and see how
He
many Potterheads actually get the joke. Anyways,
Yo.
just to round out the Weasleys that we actually care about, because, you know, the Percy of it all, I'm going to go ahead and give 5 points to Ginny for the Get Well card, because she even made it sing.
Right.
She made it sing so aggressively that he had to put his fruit bowl on it to make it stop.
He said it was very shrill
But that's
or something.
Magic at a second year. That's good.
Second year. Good for her.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah. And
Yeah.
we all know the bad bogey hex is coming, so it's fine.
And Harry kind of sucks. Let's be honest. He kind of sucks. Would y'all like to give any points to anybody for anything, any reason at all? Any amount of points.
I'm going to give 10 points. I don't know what house it would be. I'm guessing Gryffindor, to Hagrid for not being able to be quiet. It's just fun.
Yeah, he wasn't even drunk this time. Yeah.
Nope. Nope. He just
Don't
could
go
not be
sober.
quiet no matter how many times Minerva said it.
So we're giving points to Hagrid for this? This is
Yes.
a good thing?
Mhm.
Okay.
He was
We-
sober and
We
fun.
needed the exposition.
I also gave points to Fred and George for the Marauders Map. I not as many. I took some off because they didn't give it to Ron.
No.
And like I get it, but I sort of don't get like
Yeah.
so
I
I
get
gave them 35 points each because you lose some for not. And then I give 3 points to Hermione for not turning Harry in.
yeah, I guess.
I'm gonna fight you on that one.
You did good. You did good.
You guys have given points to the people I would have given points to, except Hermione. I am giving some points to Lupin because
Yeah.
he came back, he was sympathetic to the entire class, and he recognized that Harry really needed his help and agreed to help him after the break. Like, that's good teaching. That's good recognizing your students' needs and levels, and God bless him. So I'm saying 45 points to Lupin,
Oh,
which would go to Gryffindor. Although I really feel the teacher should have a house points hourglass.
Oh, I give them to the to just the people. No oversight. Remember, there's no rules to. This is whose line is it anyway?
And
These
I'm okay
points
with that.
are completely like they don't matter. But damn it,
That's
it's
right,
fun to
boys.
do. But also, the reason that Fred and George didn't give it to Ron is because, well, one, Ron is going to get the ancillary benefit from giving it to Harry, but also Ron isn't capable of having such an object, probably, and luckily for them, they actually do kind of look out for him, because the one thing that they're doing to kind of like not have Ron do something really, really dumb is put something like this in his possession, because he's gonna do something really, really dumb, but they can give it to Harry. He can do
Yeah.
all the dumb
I
shit he
think
wants,
that's
and
giving
Ron
the
can go with
twins-
them.
I think that's giving the twins a lot of credit. These
It
are
is. I'm
people
trying.
that gave him acid pops and put a hole in his tongue. Like,
They also
I-
tried to
I-
make an unbreakable vow with
I
him.
do have some negative
And
points
turned
to
his
give
teddy
out.
bear into a spider.
Oh, yeah.
I have
Go ahead.
negative points.
Yeah, we got to
to
take points
the
too.
takeaway.
Let's do
Yes,
that.
yes.
I'm gonna say the only like the strong one in my head is the owners of Honeydukes.
Oh, yo, I was
Realizing
about to say
after
that.
now probably 40 years that there is a passageway into their place, and they haven't been missing inventory all that time.
Nope.
Like, how bad are you as a shop owner?
The inventory. What about a kid walking behind you who
Mhm.
is not very subtle? Just open trapdoor, close trapdoor, walk behind you up the stairs, behind the owner, like past owner's husband, behind the owner because he's behind the counter, and then just pops up. Like,
Yeah,
what?
these are
I
the
work here.
people- Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
that's
I took away 100 points from them because they're
Oh,
bad shop owners.
that's
I
fine.
only took 15.
I'm with it. I'm with it.
I only
Yeah.
took 15. They get more points back because we needed it to happen because plot.
Well, I'm taking away points from two people. Malfoy for Malfoy. He's gonna lose 60.
Malfoy's gonna Malfoy.
Malfoy's good to Malfoy. I'm taking away 60 because he probably got points from Snape for doing it. So Malfoy's going to Malfoy. The other one, I'm taking points from the minister because, yo, you are legitimately the British Wizarding World's version of the president, and you're just like, I'm gonna gossip at a bar. Like, what,
Ah, yes, government secrets.
sir?
Yeah.
Sir.
With the person I arrested last year.
So he's gonna lose 250 points for being that bad at his job.
That
I
seems
would've taken
low compared to what's going to happen later.
Right?
Oh, damn,
Very
right?
true.
Did you
He
just
needs-
set
he needs
precedents?
Some points for me to take away later.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. I'm going to add Snape to this list because he took 50 points from Ron, and I hate him. So I'm going to take 50 from him.
I'm okay with that.
I'm
That's
fine.
an asshole.
I'm just
think
leveling playing fields over here.
Of
Mhm.
course, of course.
Yeah. Anybody
And
else?
you know what? Take another 50 because he let Malfoy get away with that shit in class anyway.
Yeah,
True.
I like it. And 10 more because he has an ugly face. Okay. Expecto plot changeo. Let's rewrite Harry Potter one small change at a time. This question is going to be for you all to answer, and I'm just gonna let people know behind the curtain. I had a different question planned. We talked about the idea of this even happening, and y'all had a better question. So you're gonna answer your own question.
Nope, I'm not taking credit for this. This is Sam.
Mm.
Because this is a hard one.
It's fantastic. So here is the question. What if Hagrid had given baby Harry to Sirius way back when the Potters were killed? Now, before you answer, and before the tens of people listening to this get all huffy, because this did not take place in this chapter, the story was recounted and we learned about it in this chapter, so it is fair game, because this is my podcast and I make the rules here. Who wants to go first?
I'm just going to say, because I've been thinking about this the whole time, trying to figure out what I was going to say. And what I come to is, we would not have the story about a boy who lived. We would have the story of the man and his nephew on the run around the wizarding world.
But
And
had
would
this
be totally, like, it would not have ever gotten to the story we know if that had happened.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But timing wise, does Sirius see Hagrid after
Mm-mm.
Peter?
No,
before?
Before.
So if he had Harry, he would not have confronted Peter. He would have just lived out his life. Like, Peter would have still been a problem, and I think eventually we would have meandered our way back to Valdi versus Harry. But he would have been raised by Sirius, and Sirius would not have needed to go to Azkaban.
And
See,
he would
here's-
be a spoiled little prince. He would have
That's
been
what I was gonna say.
dark-haired Draco Malfoy.
He
He
would
would
not
have.
have been the and I'm a Harry stan. I know people go after Harry, but no one else in the book has the heart that child has.
You gotta have heart.
Ever. And that Harry would not exist.
Right.
And without that Harry, Voldemort wins.
And
Yeah.
Sirius, love him. Very much a large child himself.
Mm-hmm.
He would not have raised a brave, willing to sacrifice child. And you needed Harry to be willing to sacrifice.
Now,
Yeah.
on that other end, though, if Sirius, instead of having suspended childhood by sitting in Azkaban for 11 years, would he have grown up if he had to raise a child, especially on the run? Like,
yes, but I
that
think
probably
his
would have
personality-
improved Sirius.
It would have improved Sirius, but I don't think it would have changed his personality,
Right.
180. So this is still the guy who gave a 6-month-old a broom.
And he still would have been on the run, because then we only have Peter's story to tell. Peter go, well, he was their secret keeper. Like,
Yeah,
Voldemort wins.
No, I don't think Voldemort wins. I think we get there a completely different way, and Neville's birth would have come into play.
Oh.
Because
By then it was too late, though, because the prophecy said he had to mark him as his equal, and Harry had been marked as his equal by then.
but would anybody know that? Because Sirius would have been on the run with Harry.
But Sirius
all
would
of the
be on the
time.
run because he hadn't
Oh,
killed Peter.
we are forgetting the most important thing. The Dumbledore factor. Sirius would have been shot down, would have been gone. Dumbledore would have taken that baby back, and we go right back on track. The Dumbledore factor.
Okay, but let's go back. At the time when Hagrid runs into Sirius and the ramshackle home, we don't know Peter versus Sirius. So Dumbledore wouldn't know Peter versus Sirius. So there would not have been a reason for Dumbledore to think Sirius did it and hunt him down.
But I thought we
No, we do.
established that
Oh no, we
Sirius
already did.
hadn't
Never mind.
Yeah.
hadn't
Plus-
seen Peter.
Yeah.
If he gets Harry, then he doesn't confront Peter. He takes care of Harry.
But
Yeah,
not to mention,
They moved to
at that
US.
point, Dumbledore does know the prophecy.
Yeah, but it's okay,
Dumbledore would have
Sirius
gone
is
after
in the
Harry
US.
anyway.
No, Sirius is in the US, living in Utah somewhere. They wouldn't have found him.
Well, and
Dumbledore-
here's the
Dumbledore.
thing too. Here's the piece that I feel like has always been under-explained, and by that I mean not at all. But let's say in this scenario, Sirius has Harry.
Mhm.
Dumbledore knows how the Potters were hidden. He knows why the baby was targeted. He is aware of the sacrifice. I think he would have, one, talked Sirius into letting him take Harry to the Dursleys because of the blood charm that he could place over the Dursleys' home because of Lily's sacrifice. That's why he chooses the Dursleys for Harry. It's literally magic. It's blood magic, and there's not another option on the face of the planet for him to
Yeah.
use that sacrifice with.
Right?
And
Exactly.
but he would have to do that after he has been convinced that Sirius was not the secret keeper, as everyone thinks that he was.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I still think he just would have gone after Sirius, thinking Sirius was the secret keeper.
Yeah, but as soon as he
Yeah.
got to him, he'd be like, okay, I can legitimate. And
Yeah, like
not the
If he
secret
would take the time to do it, and that's a good question. Would he take the time?
I think
Because
think he-
once he's got Harry, now it looks like Sirius is guilty and taking Harry away from the scene to do whatever with, because
Yeah.
that's who Voldemort was going
Dumbledore
after.
would have, I mean, Dumbledore is the headmaster who watched these boys grow up. There had to be a part of him that said, Sirius would never do this. I'm going to legitimate and see what really happened. I can't imagine he wouldn't take that 2 seconds to search it.
it's sort of, that's the part that has always bugged me, is that he's never, knowing that this man was thrown in Azkaban without a trial, he never explored whether or not like he never had that thought of, I would not suspect it was Sirius. And Sirius didn't get a try. Sirius was railroaded into Azkaban. I'm not even gonna go check. But
Well,
I think
think about what we heard even in this chapter. Dumbledore didn't trust any of them and wanted to be the secret keeper himself.
Yeah,
yeah, and it's
he
But it-
suspected there was a spy.
but
So
it does
let's
yeah.
just say Hagrid gives Sirius the baby. Hagrid then goes to the Dursleys to say, I'm just coming to let you know I gave the baby to Sirius. Dumbledore flips all kinds of his lid and goes in search of Sirius. Sirius is distraught, obviously, and probably hasn't really left the area or thought of running, because at this point, I don't know if he would have realized the world thinks he did it,
Mm-hmm.
because he knows
Yeah.
he's the secret keeper. Like, he had no reason to run.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it from his perspective, he was taking his godson to keep him safe and to protect him. He would have no frame of reference to think the world thinks I did this,
Yeah.
because he knows he's not the secret keeper. So Dumbledore shows up, angry, wand flashing.
I don't
Even
think that's
if-
Dumbledore's style either.
No, but I'm saying, like, he would still be sitting there. Like, in my mind, Sirius didn't go anywhere. He's not running. He had no
No.
reason to. So
No,
if
he's probably
he-
at Grimmauld Place.
Right, he's sitting there
Uh.
crying his eyes out, holding baby Harry, and
Yeah,
Dumbledore comes up and is like, "Let's gentlemen," and then he's cleared. Like, that's what would have happened if Hagrid had given him up.
Here's the sad thing. I don't know if I trust that, but I want to. So I'm going to accept that headcanon because it makes me happier.
You know what it also does? It also gives us a viable option for Sirius to be an ally to Dumbledore throughout. And that is, let's just pretend Sirius didn't spend half of his life or a third of his life in Azkaban. That's a formidable weapon to have on your side.
Yep.
Yes.
And it's a lifeline to Harry. Maybe he's not abused in the same way that he is growing up, because he does have a godfather that is not going to just leave him sit there at the Dursleys.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's
Even if
also
he had to
one
be at the
not to be
Dursleys.
fucked with.
Even if you had to be at the Dursley, Sirius would be like
That's
there
true.
every morning. Go ahead, Petunia.
How's it going?
Making breakfast.
Yeah.
But here's an interesting side to that. With Sirius as his family, Harry does become less attached to the Weasleys.
Mm.
Oh, so it's like he doesn't end up fucking his sister. They can actually just have an emotional connection to each other. Oh, cool.
Okay.
Oh,
I mean, it could be
Oh.
worse. It could be his mom. She is kind of his mom reincarnated. And now we're back to where we were on your podcast.
For real.
And with that, thank you all for coming on my podcast. That question will get shared on social media, and you can use the voicemail feature on belatedbinge.com to tell us why I ruined everything for you and you agree with all of them. Anything y'all want to plug or talk about or anything on the way out?
I will go ahead and say I want to plug our podcast because,
Good start.
so we are the Pottership Podcast. If you don't know, what we do is we talk about the various relationships between Harry Potter characters, whether they are friends, enemies, lovers, never met, tangentially claws, or if they're just a house and the house has a relationship with the people. You never know. So check us
A
out.
literal
Pottership
house?
Podcast.
yeah, we've actually
Yeah.
done the Sorting Hat and its relationship. We've done Hogwarts and its relationship to the people in it. Yeah.
Can
we-
you do
we-
a house?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not a Hogwarts house, a
we could
house.
do Grimmauld Place.
Yeah.
Okay, that'd be a good
Talk
one.
about the
Do
relationship.
you want to come back?
Oh, no, I've got your next ship that you must discuss.
Okay.
Grimmauld Place and the Burrow.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Okay.
You're welcome.
We will make
Also-
it happen.
Fascinating.
For the record, I like Harry and Ginny as a ship. We established that on your show.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Yep,
with you.
and
It's
Mel
okay.
loves Dumbledore. We are the Pottership Podcast. You can find us on Instagram, on Spotify, on X, sort of. I don't really go on there a lot. And on Facebook, and coming next year on TikTok.
And I have nothing to add except thank you so much. This has been a blast. And now you have to come back. Let's do episode 101.
Okay.
I'm going to say that Zach needs to come back to discuss that incredibly difficult ship he just threw at us.
Yes.
Okay.
Yay.
Ow, ow, ow. Twist my arm, why don't you? Let's do it. I'm down.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. This was a ton of fun. And thank you for listening and telling all your Potterhead friends that their new favorite podcast should be Belated Binge Harry Potter.
Of course.